Here are some of our most memorable stories about life-changing foods. If someone in the future were to write a cookbook of the COVID-19 pandemic, the first recipe might have to be banana bread.
Today I'm gonna make some banana bread.
It was the #1 searched recipe during lockdown, beating out favorites like pancakes, brownies, and pizza.
Pinterest actually had over 2 million hits for banana bread in the first week of the pandemic.
You probably already have the ingredients: eggs, oil, baking soda, sugar, brown sugar, flour, salt, and, of course, bananas. Baker Chris Tucker says a good loaf of banana bread is easier than you think.
You can essentially do it in one bowl, have it together in 5 minutes, and then pop it in the oven. It's really hard to mess it up as long as you cook it all the way through.
Next up, a recipe that might lead to marriage. It's engagement chicken. Could these smiles from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been caused by engagement chicken? There were some clues in the couple's engagement interview with the BBC.
It's a cozy night. It was what we're doing, just roasting chicken and
Roasting trying to roast chicken.
trying to roast a chicken, and it was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet.
Social media lit up. She got him with the engagement chicken, and this. Engagement chicken is real. So what is engagement chicken? It's a simple roasted chicken, flavored with lemon juice and garnished with fresh herbs. Glamour magazine's former fashion editor, Kim Bonnell, developed the recipe back in 1982. Ever since, it has taken on near mythic status.
The women who got engaged could very carefully trace events to the chicken was a turning point. There's no question.
There is something in the chicken. There is something in the chicken.
Kathy Suter also worked at Glamour magazine and credits the chicken with her engagement.
I put it together for my boyfriend, and it made him think that I was the kind of woman that would take care of him and that we would have a good life together, and he proposed to me that night.
Even Howard Stern found himself beguiled by engagement chicken when his then girlfriend Beth Ostrowski cooked it for him in 2005.
The chicken made me loopy. I was so romantic.
He was so romantic.
This chicken does come with a serious warning.
Don't make this chicken unless you want its power present for you, because it's not something to toy with.
Once you've eaten the chicken, it's time for dessert. Not that kind of dessert. How about the best cookies in the world?
This is seriously the best cookie ever.
The salted buttered chocolate chunk shortbread cookie from cookbook author Alison Roman have people salivating. Start by beating cold butter with sugar. Then comes vanilla extract and flour.
It's gonna look kind of dry and crumbly. Resist the urge to add more butter or water or anything to it. This is what it's supposed to look like. It will come together.
Lifestyle expert Alejandra Ramos then adds chocolate.
Great is that when you chop it yourself, you're gonna get all different sizes. So you get some big ones, some small ones. Plus, you can buy the best chocolate you can get.
Roll the mixture into a log.
Sure you don't lose any of these delicious chocolate bits.
And refrigerate it for at least 2 hours. Then brush it with beaten eggs, roll it in raw light brown sugar, and slice.
Now we're gonna add the flaky sea salt. That's the finishing touch that makes these extra special.
It only takes 15 minutes in the oven to get reactions like this.
So good.
But be careful with those desserts. This woman says a brownie recipe given to her by movie star Katharine Hepburn ruined her marriage.
Here are the famous brownies.
Sydney Newberry's brownies are said to be the best. The recipe actually comes from legendary actress Katharine Hepburn. But how did a recipe for brownies end up costing Sydney her marriage? Sydney says she shared the recipe with a friend who lived in Germany. That friend tried, but could never duplicate the delicious brownies. Sydney invited her friend to visit her home in the US, and that invitation turned out to be a recipe for marital disaster.
She couldn't get it to work. So we tried to get it to work. We were never able to figure out what she was doing wrong. And then she came over to the United States and stole my husband.
Sydney says those Katharine Hepburn brownies wrecked her marriage.
I mean, looking back on it, it was like, yeah, I made her the brownies. I sent her the recipe. She couldn't get it to work. She blamed me for screwing it up. And then she came over and decided she was going to start fooling around with my husband.
Sydney divorced her husband and he ended up marrying the recipe-failing friend. But don't worry, she hasn't been crying into her brownies alone. Sydney married George Newberry, and now he gets the benefits of those delicious brownies.
It's really good.
But what if you don't want to change your life and you'd like to keep it exactly the same? How about doing what this man did and eat the exact same lunch every day for 17 years?
Okay, peeling the butternut squash.
Reed Branson says his homemade soup recipe has been his go-to for almost 2 decades.
What happened was that I was eating a canned soup that I kind of liked. Then they changed the recipe of the lentil soup that this one company made, and I didn't like their new recipe. And so I looked specifically for a lentil soup, and I found this Greek lentil soup with lemon and decided to make it. And I liked it so much that I made it again the next time, and then I made it the next time, and it just got to the point where it was my go-to soup, and I just make it every single week. And I did the math not too long ago, and that adds up to like somewhere between 400 and 500 batches of this soup that I've made.
Even with the same ingredients, lentils, butternut squash, potatoes, basil, and jalapeno, Reed insists this soup doesn't get boring.
Part of it is that I'm a creature of habit, but another part of it is that one of the great things about making this sort of recipe over and over again, an excellent recipe like this, is that the flavors are always just a little bit different. Everything tastes a little bit different.
There's my cute squash.
The squash is a little bit different. The onion, the potatoes, even the celery, everything has a slightly different taste than it did before. I also use dried peppers in my version of the recipe, and sometimes they're a little hotter than others. Sometimes I put in 4 instead of 3 just to be a daring kind of guy.
So there they are, and now we're gonna start chopping them up.
So whether you like it savory or sweet, maybe the food you eat can change more than just your waistline. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm TC Newman.